Drizzling in Chicago. It should stay that way most of the day for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Chicago Bears. Two surprising stories in the NFL. One in Cincinnati, one in Chicago. Our kickoff is next on CBS.
Back to that same old place, sweet home, Chicago.
Thunderstorms in the forecast. There is a breeze over 10 miles an hour out of the south most of the afternoon. Doug Bryan will be kicking off, and the length of kickoffs has been a concern here in Chicago. Cincinnati has got the rookie from UCLA, Tab Perry, back. He set several return records at UCLA. The Bears beat the Lions last week. The Bengals took care of the Vikings, and here we go in soggy Chicago. From the 10-yard line, it's Perry, who is slowed down by Leon Joe with the first and most significant hit. The gain is to the 30-yard line. It's a return of 30 yards. Carson Palmer comes in. He is out of USC as the number 4 rated quarterback so far in the NFL. Willie Anderson on that line has gone to 2 consecutive Pro Bowls. And Chad Johnson leads the AFC in receptions coming into today.
It bears mentioning, Kevin, when you see Cincinnati's offense, I'll guarantee you early, first, second, third play, they're going deep with Carson Palmer.
They've already spread out one of their tight ends from the 30-yard line. That's Kelly in the slot, and it's 1st and 10, and it's Palmer, and it's incomplete, and nobody home. Chad Johnson was going deep. The pass was short. It's 2nd down and 10. And the Chicago defense, which comes in number 7. Wale Agunlia, injured last week, will play, starts this afternoon. Brian Urlacher is at the very top of his game at the middle linebacker. And Mike Brown returned an interception for a touchdown last week against the Detroit Lions. It's 2nd down and 10. And this is Rudy Johnson, who was tackled in the secondary very nicely by Chris Harris. The gain is to the 37. It's a pickup of 7 yards. After a Cincinnati timeout, 3rd and 3, and this is Palmer throwing incomplete. The receiver was running back Chris Perry. The coverage on the play by Urlacher and Harris. You're looking at rookie quarterback Kyle Orton out of Purdue, his 3rd consecutive start. He threw his first NFL touchdown pass last week. The offensive line is anchored by Olin Kreutz, a 4-time Pro Bowler. And Muhsin Muhammad led the NFL in receiving yards with Carolina last season. They marked the ball at the 34. It's 1st and 10 for Chicago. Only Edwards in the backfield, and Orton right to work, and that's dropped and intercepted on the deflection and picked off. Brian Simmons, he loses the ball, vacuumed in by Odell Thurman. Here comes the rookie from Georgia, getting a block and tackled by Mark Edwards at the 17-yard line. 25-yard return, the 18-yard line after the interception. 1st down and 10 for Cincinnati. Palmer, and he will find Johnson in the end zone for a touchdown. A quick strike, an 18-yard throw by Carson Palmer. And Cincinnati cashes in on the Brian Simmons interception. They've got Mark Bradley as a receiver. For Kyle Orton, who threw an interception the first pass today. And this is Thomas Jones, who was brought down by Odell Thurman among a couple. John Thornton was in there too. Loss of a yard. 2nd down and 11.
Let's go back to that touchdown real quick. Here's Chad Johnson and the route he's going to run. Right here is Mike Brown, the safety. Now watch when he hesitates for a second, and when he does that, that's a touchdown for Cincinnati. That's all Carson Palmer's looking for. He's looking at the safety. He sees the hesitation. He knows he's got that safety up top. That was perfectly drawn up and executed.
Looked beautiful. 2nd down 11 from the 16. Tackle made by Landon Johnson on Thomas Jones. Gain of 6. Markham at the 21. The Cincinnati defense comes in number 23 in the NFL. Brian Robinson, the former Bears starter, now starts on the defensive line for Cincinnati. Rookie middle linebacker Odell Thurman raising eyebrows. He's something out of the University of Georgia. And Deltha O'Neal tied atop the NFL interception chart. He's got 3.
Kevin, remember the Kansas City defense 2 years ago? The offense was so good and the team got off to a fast start. You didn't know how good they were. Cincinnati's defense might be in the same position now.
T1 Ratliff is in, so 5 in the secondary. It's 3rd down and 6. The gain is to the 25. And it was caught by Thomas Jones for a 4-yard pickup, but he's a couple yards shy, and the Bears have got a punt. Chicago just punted 3 and out from the 34. Cincinnati takes it over for the 3rd possession today. And Palmer outside, caught by the running back. Great tackle made by Briggs. The running back grabbed it on the play, and that was Rudy Johnson. It's a loss of about a yard in the play back to the 33-yard line. Well, CBS Sports features 2 on-screen elements, StatTrax and GameTrax. StatTrax gives you, after every play, updated stats on the top of your screen. GameTrax will be at the bottom of your screen, keeping you updated on the rest of the National Football League with specific individual performances. 2nd down, 11, just outside the 33. Rudy Johnson again, good tackle made, and the secondary coming in was Harris. No gain. Chris Harris is a rookie starting in the secondary. He is out of Louisiana Monroe, and the ball is still at the 33.
He has got real upside in this defense. They started with Mike Green in the opener against Washington at that safety position, and Lovie Smith has decided to go with the youngster. He brings a little bit more, besides the upside, he brings a little bit more speed to that defensive backfield also.
Jerry Azuma is the 5th defensive back. There is another receiver in there, Chris Perry. 3rd down and 11. They got to get to the 44. And it's outside. Matt Schovel, the tight end. Azuma makes the stop. He's well shy of the 1st down. He only gets to the 38. And on the play, picks up 5. And Cincinnati, like Chicago before them, has got to punt the ball.
You know, if this game seems to you at home to have kind of a funny pace and a funny feel, it's going to be like that. Cincinnati, the analogy would be they're a fast break basketball team, and the Chicago Bears are better off in the 4 corners. They're better off in being very plodding instead of trying to get into a race contest with Cincinnati.
But they both want to be fast. Can they be that fast? That's a good point to bring up. We'll watch that throughout the afternoon. 2nd 3 and out for the Cincinnati Bengals. This is Wayne back at the 8. Got a block, and here he goes. Flags all over the field. Looks like a clip and a fumble on the play. And it's loose. The Bears have grabbed it at the 45, but flags are all over the field.
A block in the back at about the 15-yard line, Kevin. Right in front of Wade as he was running through.
The Bengals on Kyle Orton, who is out there with his 3rd possession from the 8, and a handoff to Thomas Jones. And brought down on that line after a gain of 5 by Gathers. And it will be 2nd down and 5 to go. Mark the ball at the 13.
And it's worth going back to the point, Kevin, that these will be 2 distinctly different offenses. You're going to get a very plodding kind of a feel from Chicago. They've got Kyle Orton, the quarterback, the rookie out of Purdue. They want to run the ball. It's a low mistake game for Chicago.
2nd down and 5. And look at the time by Orton. And the pass, a diving reception made by Muhsin Muhammad. Case Mahar makes the stop, a pickup of 23 yards. He's out to the 35-yard line, and some breathing space for the Chicago Bears.
And this gives you a very good idea of why Bear fans and the Bear organization is so excited about Kyle Orton. Gets excellent protection, obviously, for Muhammad to run that long of a pattern. He needed the protection, but good patience by Kyle Orton and perfect delivery.
Wade is a 3rd receiver, officially at the 35. It is a 1st down for Chicago. Orton again, hit as he throws, incomplete. Looking on the side for the rookie from Oklahoma, Mark Brandley. 7-0 here, Cincinnati. Let's go to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Thanks, Kevin. Same score in Philadelphia. It's the Raiders on top, however. Kerry Collins to Lamont Jordan out of the backfield, 8 yards on the touchdown. Coming up on 7.5 to play in the first. The Raiders lead the Eagles 7-0.
Thank you, Greg. And Oakland is one of 7 winless teams coming into week 3.
Maybe the most dangerous one, because even they have no idea of how good they can be.
2nd down and 10. And a fumble on the exchange, and Orton jumps on it at the 34. So a loss of a yard, bringing up 3rd and 11.
You know, when you sit down and talk to this young quarterback out of Purdue, Kyle Orton, you can't help but be impressed. Snap was a little bit short there by Olin Kreutz, but usually a quarterback has got to ride with his center and stay there. He was in a little bit too much of a hurry to get the heck out of there.
Ball remains at the 35, but it's been pushed back a bit. Watch for Muhammad now on 3rd down.
But he is mature beyond his years, Kyle Orton is, and Muhammad with 32 receptions in a row for first downs on 3rd down.
So they got to get to the 46. Kyle Orton intercepted. Picked off on the play. Ratliff right in front of Bobby Wade. That's the 2nd interception thrown by Kyle Orton. And so for the 2nd time, they begin in Chicago territory, 36-yard line. And Rudy Johnson, he was hit by Hillenmeyer and then devoured on the play by Alex Brown. It's a loss of 2, back to the 38. Back to New York, and Craig Gumbel with this update.
All right, thank you, Kevin. In Indianapolis, Edgerrin James from 2 yards out has put the Colts on top. 52nd touchdown of his career. 7-0 Colts over the Browns. They've gone to the 2nd quarter.
Thank you, Greg. And Indianapolis, one of 7 undefeated teams coming into this week 3. 2nd down and 12, 38-yard line. Here comes Urlacher on the blitz, and Palmer going deep and looking for Houshmandzadeh. There was some contact. There is yellow on the field. It'll be 1st and goal with Cincinnati burning once again Charles Tillman, who was burned on the Chad Johnson touchdown pass earlier in the game. Now 2 tight ends for Cincinnati. After that 35-yard penalty, 1st and goal. Rudy Johnson tries to sidestep his way into the teeth of that Chicago defense. Looked like Tank Johnson was there, among others. It's a gain of 1. It's 2nd down and goal.
Now you start to get a little bit of a flavor, if you haven't seen the Bengals much, as to how dangerous this offense is, because just about the time you start worrying about all the stuff down the field, then you've got that big offensive line just pounding things out with Rudy Johnson.
Boone and Johnson and Scott and Harris and Alex Brown, 5 defensive Chicago linemen. 2nd down and goal. Rudy Johnson hit by Hillenmeyer, driven backwards. Lost at least a yard and maybe 2. Make it 3 as they mark him back outside the 5.
The Bengals come out with 2 tight ends and a backup tackle at left tight end, and they just tell the Chicago Bears so good in the red zone that we're going to be running the ball. And this defense just rose right up. That was an excellent charge by the front 7.
Now Chicago has put in 5 defensive backs. It is 3rd and goal at the 5. Johnson and Houshmandzadeh are the receivers for Cincinnati. Good block by Jeremy Johnson, and that is another touchdown pass, this time to T.J. Houshmandzadeh, and a flag is down.
It was a push-off against Cincinnati.
3rd and goal at the 15. Palmer down the middle, almost picked up by Mike Brown. He drops it incomplete. Nonetheless, the Chicago Bears hold the Cincinnati Bengals out of the end zone and relegate Cincinnati to a 3-point try.
Another excellent job by the Chicago defense in the red zone. Mike Brown, perfect anticipation. That's the Chicago Bears defense we're used to. This defense is playing pretty good today. A couple penalties, but that's what they normally do. They cause turnovers and they frustrate the offense. Some of these young guys have got to step up.
1st down and 10 from the 22. Thomas Jones, the all-time leading rusher at the University of Virginia, thrown out of bounds by Case Fajarn, close to a 1st down. We'll call it a gain of 9, and he's to the 31-yard line.
Well, this guy is just something. He's so quick, he's so active, and they've got Cedric Benson sitting behind him, but they can't put Benson in because of the job Thomas Jones is doing. And what a family. You got one son goes to Virginia, runs the ball like that. His brother, Julius Jones, all he does is go to Notre Dame, now running the ball for the Dallas Cowboys.
Think of the savings in education those 2 places.
Yeah, but now they're suspended on airfare, going back and forth to see their kids play.
That's right. 2nd down and 1. Jones again. And he goes crashing through, and he's tackled by Thurman. He's to the 37, gaining 6 yards on the play. When we talked about Kyle Orton, he's thrown 2 interceptions already. They began with Rex Grossman, and Grossman got injured. Then with the Chad Hutchinson, he played poorly, and so they go to the rookie out of Purdue, a 4th-round pick, Kyle Orton.
the offense, the other players in the offense have a lot of faith in this guy. He's very honest. He's very upfront. He's taken charge, and you've seen what he needs. His best friend has got to be this running game.
Gage is a receiver on 1st and 10, and Jones is swallowed up inside. They had Ordell Thurman, and it's a loss of 2 back to the 35.
You know, as you've heard about since 2001 when Tom Brady basically showed up his draft class, look at everybody drafted in front of Kyle Orton and what they're doing right now. You know, tell me how important sometimes news clippings and word of mouth is, and how important the character and the football ability of somebody is.
Wade is the 3rd receiver, 5 defensive backs, 2nd down 12. They got to get to the 47. Orton dumps it off, screen pass, Jones. Read well. In fact, read beautifully on the play by Odell Thurman. You also had Brian Robinson there. That's a loss of a yard back to the 34.
You got to love this young linebacker out of Georgia. You know, I was talking to his linebacker coach, Ricky Hunley. There's a lot about him they're still sort of harnessing, but the one thing you can't teach this young guy is his enthusiasm, his reactions, and his speed to the ball. You know, he's like a missile when he reacts.
And he's been all over the field so far. Ratliff is the 5th defensive back. There are 3 receivers, including Bradley. It is 3rd and 13. They got to get to the 47. Orton, and here they come.
Holding.
And flag is down, and there goes a pass out of bounds. What a sloppy first quarter this has been.
Run the ball and have big strikes offensively.
1st and 10. Jeremy Johnson, and he's brought down by Agunlier on that line. It's a gain of 1. He's out to the 22. We didn't even know if he was going to play. Wale Agunlier, who is a big-time free agent signing a couple years ago from the Miami Dolphins for $33 million.
And in spite of the cash number, he's melded into this defense extremely well. Tommy Harris inside has been a great surprise, you know, at defensive tackle for a guy that young to pick this up this fast with Urlacher and Briggs at linebacker.
Good line. 2nd down and 9 from the 22. Rudy Johnson. And he was tangled up on the play by Hillenmeyer. He was the first one to get a stab at him. It's a gain of 8, close to a 1st down. Hunter Hillenmeyer is a player that has made this team after being cut by the Green Bay Packers. He's 3 years out of Vanderbilt. Alfonso Boone will come in on the defensive line. They'll take out Agunlia.
And as good as the Bengals offense looks, you've already seen with the 1st and 3 that backed up and turned into a field goal. With this Bears defense, you have got to be careful. You make the slightest mistake and they'll turn that into a turnover.
They'll get you 3rd and 1 with 2 tight ends. And Rudy Johnson pushing the pile and moves it well, and he has a 1st down on the play.
It's like the Jetsons meet the Flintstones different.
It's 1st and 15 back at the 26. Here comes Agunlia. Ball was tipped. Incomplete. Alex Brown and Agunlia tattooing the quarterback Carson Palmer. He was lucky to get that ball away.
Wale Agunlia just coming around the outside. Willie Anderson barely gets a hand on him. That's miscommunication there. Showing the blitz inside. You start squeezing down so far inside, you run out of blockers for the outside. You want to see if you can test how pliable and how tough your quarterback is. That's a good way to do it.
But he's a big kid at 6'5". Chris Henry is coming as a 3rd receiver. Azuma is in as a 5th defensive back. 2nd down, 15. Palmer, screen pass. Johnson grabbed well by the rookie Chris Harris. He has been all over the field, throwing him for a 1-yard loss to the 25. To New York and Greg Gumbel. Officially the 42.
This is their 3rd and 10 and longer. And despite all the fireworks on offense, this offense only produced 34 yards so far in 16 plays.
Palmer throws. It's caught by Henry. Breaks 1 tackle of Briggs, then is brought down on the play by Nate Basher.
It's going to be a holding on Willie Anderson, I think. Holding. Flag down. Got to run the ball. This offensive line has got to start pushing some holes.
On the 32-yard line, Bradley is the other receiver, and right up the middle goes Thomas Jones with not much there. John Thornton was there, and him and Olin Kreutz are punching at each other. That was a gain of 2, and he's out to the 34. Log on to NFL.com every Monday morning and see what our own Shannon Sharpe has to say about today's games, as only he can. That's on NFL.com or NFL on AOL.
I mentioned that offensive line, it's up to them. Well, Odell Thurman got the memo too. He's very aware of what Chicago has to do, and this rookie linebacker was really filling on that last hole.
2nd down and 9. Thomas Jones. And brought down by Justin Smith, the former #1 pick out of Missouri, a gain of 4 to the 37-yard line.
So this is manageable, you know, for Kyle Orton in the offense. If you can get in the 3rd down and 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, right in that neighborhood, you know, for Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator here upstairs, you can call the normal plays. You're out of 3rd and long, and you keep the defense from guessing so much.
Wade has come in to join Bradley and Muhammad as a 3rd receiver. 5 in the secondary for Cincinnati. Chicago's not converted 3rd down today. 3rd down and 5. They've got to get to the 42. Orton hit as he throws and intercepted by Torrey James. The 3rd interception today by Kyle Orton. And brought down. Mark Bradley had a hand on him. And now there's Kreutz again out there shoving people around. First pitch after the Torrey James Cincinnati interception off Orton. The 3rd the Chicago quarterback has thrown today. It is 1st and 10. The handoff goes to Rudy Johnson. Brought down by Alex Brown among many, along with Harris. Gain of 3 to the 40.
Orton and Bradley talking about a pass that Orton could have laid out more for him, but it resulted in an interception. And Bresnahan, the defensive coordinator of Cincinnati, has seen a defense through 3 games that is setting this offense up just perfectly. But to their credit, I'll tell you, the Chicago defense has been in some bad spots, but they've rallied and boned up.
They have indeed. 2nd down and 7. Down he goes. Agunlia makes the sack. Wale Agunlia with his 1st sack today, his 2nd of the season. The former Pro Bowler who played his college ball at Indiana. A loss of 8. Back to the 32.
Well, Agunlia against Willie Anderson, and watch the move inside. Goes inside, drives the inside shoulder, turns that big body of Willie Anderson's, gets right into the quarterback. That is excellent technique by Agunlia, working against one of the better offensive tackles in the AFC.
See what happens. Chris Henry is the 3rd receiver. Azuma is the 5th defensive back. And it's a screen pass. A flag is down, caught by Perry, tackled from behind by Agunlia. The gain is to the 39, 7-yard pickup. And as we said, a flag is in there, maybe a hold.
Oh, it was a hold. Someone had too good a grasp of their technique.
Kyle Orton, who takes over at the 13-yard line for his 6th possession today, has thrown 3 interceptions. Thomas Jones into the teeth of that defense. Landon Johnson among many. It's a gain of 2, and the gain is out to the 15-yard line.
And this lack of running early is putting Kyle Orton, his coordinator, Ron Turner, kind of behind the ball. Behind the 8 ball, I should say, because he's had 3 interceptions so far today. 1 was bad luck, 1 was bad decision, and 1 was underthrown. But now if you're trying to call play, suddenly now it's 2nd and 9, and you're Ron Turner there on the left. You've got to be very judicious about where you let your young quarterback throw the ball.
2nd and 8 for Orton. And that is incomplete, and nobody was around. You know, the interesting thing about the Chicago offensive coordinator, Ron Turner, he was with the Bears back in the mid-90s. Of course, he is the brother of Norv Turner, the coach of the Oakland Raiders. But they have now had 3 different coordinators in 3 years. John Shoup gave way to Terry Shea last year. And by the way, that was the 32nd ranked offense in the NFL. And now Turner, the 3rd in 3 years.
Well, and the good news is Kyle Orton didn't know any of those other guys. He only knows Ron Turner. That's the only coordinator he wants and or cares about.
5 in the secondary. Wade is another receiver. Thomas Jones on 3rd down and 8. And he plows ahead close to a 1st down. He had to get to the 24. And let's see where they spot. I think he's short by a half.
Well, 23 and a half or so, so it's going to be a 4th down.
The #1 overall pick a couple of years ago in the draft, Carson Palmer, after he won the Heisman at USC, did not take a single snap his rookie year.
And he's sort of mentally going up against that guy right there, Ron Rivera, the defensive coordinator, who, despite the 2 early plays, is doing a nice job defensively.
Urlacher the tackle on 1st and 10 on Rudy Johnson. No gain. Rudy Johnson today, 3 carries, -2 yards.
And this Bengals offense, if you're talking, my analogy usually is boxing. Look at their first 6 possessions. And right here, they are basically on their heels the last 3 times. And remember, this possession here, the field goal, was first down on the 3-yard line.
38-yard line. It's 2nd down. Here goes Rudy Johnson, stiff-arming his way by Hillenmeyer, then tackled by Ian Scott. He's out to the 46. He picks up 7 yards. Shy of a first down by a couple.
It's 3rd down. I'll go back to the Chad Johnson idea. I think they need to get this receiver back involved in this offense. You remember back in the possession where he had the penalty, then you showed that emotional reaction, how mad he was about the penalty and how mad he was that it cost them a touchdown. He's one of those guys, you've got to keep him involved. He's had nothing since then.
Let's see what he does here. Henry is a 3rd receiver. Azuma is a 5th defensive back. It's 3rd and 3 for Carson Palmer. And he goes to the rookie who's tackled by Urlacher. That is Chris Henry, who is a rookie from West Virginia, picking up 7 on 3rd and 3 to the 47. This kid's playing with the heavy heart. He was the high school player of the year from his hometown in New Orleans. He was a high pick out of West Virginia, but he has obviously had his mind on other things, not only this weekend, but over the last couple of weeks.
And he's also in one of the real position battles on this team. He and Kelly Washington weekly are competing. I mean, all week during practice on who gets to be the 3rd receiver. In the last 2 weeks, Henry's won that battle.
47 is Chicago, 1st and 10. Rudy Johnson runs into Williams, his right guard, and is brought down. Jumping on the pile was Haynes. It's a loss of a yard. Briggs was in there as well.
You play the Chicago Bear defense and you start stopping and starting and hesitating and looking for somewhere to go, you're going to get a face full of Lovie Smith defensive players. You're going to see a lot of helmets, face masks, and jerseys coming at you.
2nd down 11. They got to get to the 37-yard line of the Chicago Bears. Bears come in 1-1. Cincinnati 2-0. Palmer, the blitz by Hillenmeyer. The throw to the tight end. That's caught by Tony Stewart, who is grabbed by Briggs. It's a gain of 6. He's to the 42 and a couple yards shy of a first.
That's maybe a throw that a year or so ago Carson Palmer might not make. And that also shows you not only the maturity, but also the strength of this quarterback. He's facing the blitz. He stands in. He stands in. He knows he's going to get whacked, but he's got the strength of arm and the strength of mind to stay in there and get that completion.
3 receivers, including Henry. 3rd down and 5 for Cincinnati. Azuma is a 5th defensive back. Caught by Henry, grabbed on the play by Tillman, but shy of a first down. Good tackle. The gain is to the 39. He picks up 3 when he needed 5. Now it is 4th down.
That was a rookie mistake right there by Henry, the wide receiver. Watch after he catches the ball. Watch him wiggle. See catch? See the wiggle? Don't wiggle, go. It's 3rd down and you need to get a first down. Don't wiggle. Idyllic, unlike the start for the Bears offense.
On the 13-yard line, 1st and 10. And Orton going deep and looking for Muhammad, intercepted for a 4th time. This time it's picked off by Williams, who is brought down by the Chicago tight end Desmond Clark. Madua Williams out of Maryland.
The rookie, he's kind of just glad to be here and having fun.
46-yard line, it's 1st and 10. And that is a carry for a gain of 2 on the play by Perry, 2 years out of Michigan. He's up to the 47. Coming up in the Sprint halftime report, join Greg, Dan, Shannon, and Boomer for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. And it is a very busy day in the NFL. That's all coming up on the Sprint halftime report with Randy Cross, Kevin Harlan, Soldier Field in Chicago.
Well, the Bears are lucky this defense is playing this well for them because their deepest penetration is the Cincinnati 37.
That's a pitch out to Chad Johnson with the quarterback. Palmer with the block and read well by Alex Brown, the former Southeastern Conference Defensive Player of the Year. It's a loss of 1, back to the 47.
There's a little trick play for Carson Palmer trying to get himself a block, and Alex Brown's not having any of it. That's a nice job, and Chad Johnson is the player that's down on the ground.
3rd down and 9. They've got to get to the 44. And Palmer hit as he throws, and he's got Hushmanzada, who turns the corner. He's got a 1st down to the 43-yard line. There is a flag, and there goes Chad Johnson.
This Bears defense, they've been put in bad position, and they are doing a heck of a job.
3rd and 14 right now, and a shovel pass, and it's caught by Perry, who, well, it's a fumble. Urlacher pulled it out, and Briggs has got it for Chicago at the 47 after the 11-yard gain. So that's how Chicago reacts to their quarterback throwing his 4th interception. They take it right back away from the Bengals.
Well, when you're a big play defense that loves to create turnovers like Lovie Smith's defense does, you practice this. Watch Brian Urlacher, 54, come in and rip that ball out of there. That is training camp drills. That is emphasis from your coaches. And it should come as no surprise if you're a Bears fan or have followed the NFL for long. This defense is nails and knows when its offense needs a little bit of help and needs a big play. This is the best field position of the Bears offense so far. The question on this play is going to be not did he rip it out, but was his knee down when he did it.
47-yard line. Thomas Jones, and a big hole for Thomas Jones, the former Arizona Cardinal and Tampa Bay Buccaneer, racing for 17 yards to the 36-yard line. Williams makes the stop.
There's Thomas Jones right here, and watch the lane right in here with the half the tight end motion has meant in the past big time run. Well, that's big time run right there. Nice cutback.
1st and 10 by Jones. Another big gain. Brought down again by Williams. Thomas Jones led the Bears in rushing last season, led them in receiving. He picks up 16 right there. So what did Chicago do? They went and took, with the 4th pick overall, Cedric Benson. This kid, though, because the long Benson holdout, is starting and playing well.
He didn't get the memo that he was supposed to give his spot up. And this is what I'm talking about, Chicago. Pound the ball, be effective. Nothing bad about being boring.
1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Jones again. Sent right up the middle. Brian Simmons, one of many to make the stop. It's a gain of 3. They mark it at the 17-yard line. There is a flag
on Cincinnati
in the secondary. It is 2nd down and 22. They've got to get to the 10. Wade is the 3rd receiver. Thomas Jones again. Grabbed by Torrey James. Brought down by Thurman. 25-yard line, 8-yard pickup. Wade and Bradley are the other 2 receivers from the 25-yard line. Orton with time and short to Jones. A beat on him there with Simmons making the stop. Gain of 4. They go to the 21. Timeouts remaining. Cincinnati out of them. Chicago's got 2. It is 1st and 10. Thomas Jones. Grabbed by Thornton, hit by Smith, and he works his way to the 28 and picks up 4 on the play.
So that was just a straight ahead football, but keep an eye on Olin Kreutz, the center. He comes off and gets a hold of Odell Thurman, and Thurman's kind of slipping, but just went off the screen there. You see him kind of dead bugging him on the ground. Those are the kind of blocks the Bears need from their offensive linemen. Get on them and swarm them.
Gage is another receiver. Jones sent up the middle. Thornton and Brian Robinson were there with the stops on the defensive line, and a gain of 3 to the 31.
And if you need an analogy kind of description of what kind of offense you want to be if you're the Chicago Bears right now, I think, Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl year would work. Be an offense that doesn't make mistakes, because you got a defense that makes other people make mistakes.
Wade is the 3rd receiver. Cincinnati has brought in an extra defensive back from the 31. 3rd and 3. And loops it to Gage. The catch is made out of bounds. And Scott Booster will take his place. First, second half possession. 29-yard line, 1st and 10. Rudy Johnson, who has got his ankles tangled up by Nate Vasher. Gain of 2 out to the 30.
Yeah, and Vasher and Tommy Harris coming in pursuing from that backside defensive tackle, and there was nowhere to go. Normally a running back will stretch that defense and be able to find a hole. And I tell you, this Bears defense is, besides that touchdown you talked about for 18 yards to Chad Johnson, they've given them nothing but grief and little nibbles.
2nd down and 8 from the 30. And Palmer winding up and incomplete to Hushmanzada. And the coverage on the play by a couple in the secondary, including Chris Harris and that guy right there, Charles Tillman.
I mean, it's not what you call passive. This is a very aggressive scheme.
So 3rd down and 13. Henry, the 3rd receiver. Palmer is hit by Brown and finally taken down by Brown. Sacked at the 27. It's a loss on the play. Well, maybe, you know what, he may have gotten back. No, it's in fact about a 2-yard gain now with the spot at the 27-yard line. Nonetheless, Cincinnati's got a punt.
Well, this is not bear weather. Bear weather is, 10 degrees and frozen field, but this is definitely Bear football.
And Chicago punted before them to open up this second half. Second possession for the Bears here in the 3rd quarter. 32-yard line, Kyle Orton. Going deep. Bradley with the catch, but maybe out of bounds and a flag.
But the question is, was there contact after that 5-yard period by either one of them, Deltha O'Neal or Bradley?
That was Duke and Kansas. Remember that at the 46-yard line. It's a handoff on 1st and 15. Thomas Jones squirming his way into the grasp of Justin Smith. 7-yard pickup, 47-yard line to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Hey, Kevin and Randy, you want to see a big-time hit? Watch John Abraham come after and level Byron Leftwich. Loose football is picked up by James Reed, who returns it 33 yards. After a field goal by the Jaguars, the Jets hold the lead 14-13, guys.
Boy, Greg, the Jets are tough at home. In their last 9 home games, they're 7-2. Lead right there, although slim. 2nd down and 8 here for Orton. He's got Muhsin Muhammad, who's grabbed by Deltha O'Neal. It's a 1st down pass. It's to the 36-yard line. It's a gain of 11. And back to Greg in New York.
All right, Kevin, this one's a little less physical, a little more artistic. In St. Louis, Mark Bulger finds Torrey Holt 32 yards away. 24 unanswered points has put the Rams on top of Tennessee 24-10, coming up on 7 minutes to play in the 3rd.
Kind of interesting, Greg. That's the Rams' first home game this season. They are 1-1. Here in week 3, that's their first. They get a 1st down right here. Speaking of first, the 36-yard line for Chicago. Thomas Jones held on to by the blitzing Williams from the secondary, and it's a loss of 2 back to the 38-yard line. Ladeel Williams from Maryland.
Already got himself a couple of big plays today, Kevin. And talking to Marvin Lewis, what respect the head coach has for this young defensive back. Lost his mother earlier this year and is helping raise his 12-year-old brother.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a guy that has to be mature beyond his years. You're trying to figure out NFL offenses, and you're trying to raise your 12-year-old brother.
Here's a 2nd and 12 pass by Orton. And it is intercepted by Deltha O'Neal. It was picked off.
We've got 2 waving incomplete. You've got another one waving catch.
There's Kyle Orton taking a look at the shot from the press box, which showed him throwing his 5th interception today. 1st and 10, 30. Carson Palmer caught by Hushmanzada, and he's brought down by Charles Tillman. It's a gain of 12. It's his first reception of the day is T.J. Hushmanzada's.
Well, Kyle Orton just never takes his eyes off his favorite receiver, Muhammad. And Deltha O'Neal is right there with him and squeezes in front of him. You see the head just staring at his receiver, and Deltha O'Neal gets that position where Muhammad can't go through him to get the ball.
Look at this, Rudy Johnson run, and it goes for 9 yards to the 49-yard line. Alex Brown among a couple over there, along with Chris Harris from the secondary making the stop. You should take a look at Kyle Orton. That's the most since Larry Rakestraw in 1968 by a Chicago Bear quarterback. I think Jack Concannon was playing with that team or in that era as well here in Chicago.
I'm going to have to leave that one to you.
Second down, a long one. Hand off to Rudy Johnson. Looks like he skips over a defender who was Tommy Harris and gets the first down and a gain of 2 to the 47-yard line. We haven't talked a lot about Rudy Johnson today. He is coming off a season where he set a single-season Bengals rushing record of over 1,400 yards. Of course, this is the guy that took over for Corey Dillon a couple of years ago.
And very much a powerful back, backed up by Chris Perry out of Michigan, who's much more the quicker back, a good 1-2 combination for the Bengals in the running game.
47, 1st and 10. And the aforementioned Johnson. Brought down by Mike Brown and tangled up with Hunter Hillenmeyer. Rolls for 8, down to the 39. Wednesday, it is a new season of CSI New York. New style, new stories, and new faces. CSI New York premieres Wednesday at 10, 9 Central on CBS, America's most watched network.
You have to wonder, with everything this Bears defense has done, are they starting to get a little tired?
2nd and 2. Rudy again. The grab was made by Lance Briggs. Gain of 3 and a first down to the 36.
You know, because the Cincinnati offense now has come out with a quick 11 on a pass and then bang, bang, run, bang. I mean, they're just starting to hammer at this defense. And that's really what they need to do against the Chicago Bears, is be patient. Much like the Bears offense should be more patient. They wouldn't have 5 interceptions if they didn't. This Cincinnati offense is seeing their patience pay off on this drive.
1st and 10, 36. Briggs bats it down right in the face, right in the grill of Carson Palmer. Now remember, they're playing with the new right tackle, and that is Scott Kustra taking the place of Willie Anderson, who's got a back injury.
And Briggs is a linebacker. He leads this football team in tackles. He's one ahead of Brian Urlacher, and he's much out of the mold of the rest of these Bear defenders. Very aggressive and a speed specialist.
Hey, as we say that, Willie Anderson has just come back in the game, and Kuster's been yanked at the right tackle.
I guess his back spasms are better, or Willie spasming is better than the other guy healthy.
2nd down and 10 from the 36. Palmer with the hesitation, looking for Henry, and he's got him for a touchdown. Chris Henry's first career NFL touchdown. A 36-yard toss by Carson Palmer. They leave Orton in. 1st and 10. Thomas Jones from behind. He was brought down niftily by Brian Simmons, who had a pick earlier in the game. It's a gain of 3. He's to the 23 as we take you to New York and Craig Gumbel.
Hey, Kevin, in Philadelphia, the Eagles have grabbed the lead for the first time today against the Raiders. Donovan McNabb, 4 yards to Terrell Owens for Owens, the 100th touchdown of his career. 13-10. Eagles, 10 minutes to play in the 3rd.
Well, what a great shot that is there of Moss and Owens, 2 of the more flamboyant receivers in the NFL in one game.
Randy sure looked happy for T.O., didn't he?
Yes. 2nd down, 7. Adrian Peterson in for the first time as Orton goes deep, looking for Muhammad. Incomplete, covered by Deltha O'Neal, who has one of the 5 interceptions thrown by Orton today. And Orton is 5 of 15 tossing the ball.
Well, Deltha O'Neal, a defensive back who at one time was a Pro Bowler. Then Mike Shanahan was talking about making a wide receiver out of this guy. He's off to an amazing start in 2005. 3 interceptions last week and 1 so far today. 4 for the season, which leads the NFL.
Played at Cal, and at Cal he was a running back, he was a wide receiver, he was a defensive back. Here is a 3rd and 7. Also was a kick returner with Cal. Peterson remains in the backfield. And Orton over the blitzing Case Fajarn, can't hit Wade. The coverage there by Thurman, but Kevin Case Fajarn was shooting through and got in the face of Orton. Oh, I've never seen it that low before.
Yours currently is higher than that, Kevin.
33-yard line. It's Hirschmann-Zana slipping on the turf. And the tackle was made by Brown. It's a gain of 1. So he's out to about the 35-yard line. Cincinnati, if they win this game, and everything would point to that, would go to 3-0 for the first time since 1990. And Marvin Lewis has been a godsend to that organization in every way, on the field and off.
It's been since one of the class guys in the NFL, Sam Weich, was their head coach, that the team has won like that. Remember in 81 and 88, this is the team that went to the Super Bowl. But what was going on in 1990? Check that out. How good does that $1.09 look right about now? how the Reds doing, and who is Madonna?
I don't know, but she had the #1 song. The Bengals
about
made
a magazine?
The playoffs. Yeah. She loves Vogue.
Oh, good.
In Vogue right now in Cincinnati is Marvin Lewis. They're getting great crowds. They're going to have a bye after coming up soon. 3rd down and 6 from the 37. Palmer, shuffle pass to Perry. And grabbed by Agunlia and brought down at the 40. Shy of the first down. Pickup of 3, and since he's got a punt. And really, the backup is Jeff Blake, the ex-Bengal, but, you know, he's not taking a snap all season, and very few in the preseason. 1st and 10 handoff to Jones. There was a block by Reuben Brown. And a nice play made by Williams, again coming from the secondary. It's a gain of 3. He's to the 33-yard line. Coming next, Tom Brady and the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots try to derail Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers as they go for their 17th consecutive regular season victory. It's an AFC Championship game rematch next here on CBS. 2nd down and 7. Thomas Jones. And he was hit by Sean Smith, who has just come in the game on that defensive line. He's got the cleanest jersey. Carl Powell is in there too. And it's a gain on the play of about 3. Mark him at the 36-yard line. Our spot today is difficult because after every play, the official's picking up the ball and not placing it down. He's covering it from the rain. So our spot may be a half-yard off at times. And
not to mention the middle of that field. You can see from that shot right there, in a lot of instances, you can hardly even see the hash marks.
Right.
It is. Like I said, it's rained a lot today. It just poured here yesterday, and this is a recently resodded in the last week and a half field.
Officially at the 36, 3rd and a long 4. And Orton will hit the rookie out of Oklahoma, Bradley, who is punched out of bounds by Ratliff. The gain is to the 46-yard line, a pickup of 11 yards, and it is a 1st down.
This is a good, aggressive, safe pass, getting the ball to Bradley. And you really start to get the idea now of what we were talking about earlier. If you're a Bear fan, you need some maturity on the outside. You've only got Muhammad. They've thrown the ball to Gage a little bit, thrown the ball to Bradley. Somebody's got to emerge as that #2 receiver.
There's 2 tight ends, and it's at the 46-yard line. And after getting their first 3rd down conversion of the day, it's a pass outside to Thomas Jones, who's hit by Torrey James and Brian Simmons. It is a gain of 6. He's to the 48-yard line of Cincinnati.
Do you suppose Cedric Benson's still a Bear?
Well, now is the perfect time to use him, right? I mean,
came into this game really anticipating seeing about a 50-50 mix of Thomas Jones and Cedric Benson, but the game, the way it's dictated to Lovie Smith and Ron Turner as offensive coordinator, you know, the way it's going, it's no surprise you don't see Cedric Benson.
It is a 2nd down and 4. Batted down by Case Mahorn. 2nd time they've sent him in on the blitz off the wing.
Well, we talk about Cedric Benson, the other guy that's, you know, still on the roster. In fact, he's listed as inactive today, was Rex Grossman, the quarterback that was injured this preseason. And the reason that Kyle Orton is playing is right there in the jacket with the tennis shoe on one foot and the big black boot on the left leg.
What do you think he's thinking? Injured last year, season-ending injury, broken ankle this summer. He can't stay healthy.
Well, if he's a quarterback, he thinks he could do everything different and right. But then again, that's why you sign quarterbacks to think like that.
5 defensive backs. Ratliff is in. 3rd down and 4. They got to get to the 44. Wade is an extra receiver. And Orton throws to Wade, who's chased by Ratliff. And they get the 1st down. So they've gotten 2 3rd down conversions on this drive. The gain is to the 36. It's a pickup of 13.
It's an old temptation in football and offensive football. If you have a guy that can return kicks, try to see if you can get him the ball where he's got some air around him and a chance to just turn into a kick returner. And You know, you could look for Wade to have a much bigger piece of this offense receiving-wise. We talk about them needing a receiver. You know, here's a guy as a 3 or a 4 to get some much-needed yardage down the road.
Wade is out of Arizona. 7th play of the drive. It began back at the 30-yard line. Quick handoff to Jones. Not much there. Tackle made by Smith. Loss of a yard. Back to the 37-yard line. Let's do our NFL poll. And so far this season, which team has had the most impressive defense? Log on to NFL.com.
I don't think it's close. I think it's those guys right there, the Indianapolis Colts. Not impressive that they are that good. It's impressive that they have a defense. They haven't had one for a couple years.
2nd down and 10. Here comes Thornton. He belts Orton. And the pass is over the head of Mark Edwards, the fullback, with Landon Johnson covering.
That doesn't scream 60 minutes to
No,
you?
well,
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Never mind.
Rex Grossman watches. 9th play. This is the longest sustained drive by either team today. 3rd down and 10. Personnel stays the same on both sides of the ball. They've got to get to the 26-yard line. Thomas Jones stood up, taken down.
Somebody blow a whistle.
Justin Smith stood him up and put him back. The former #1 pick out of the University of Missouri. And now the clock ticking down will take us to the end of 3. 4th and 10. They need the Cincinnati 26. Gilmore, the tight end, with the good block and giving time to Orton, and the pass is caught by Bradley, guarded by James. It is a 1st down. It is to the 21. It's a pickup of 15 yards. So on this drive, Bradley's caught passes of 11 yards and 15.
Well, you got to like Kyle Orton's moxie, because this would 5 interceptions would put a little dent in the confidence of any quarterback. Kyle Orton is not backing off. He is still just chunking it and trusting his receivers.
1st and 10, officially the 20. Here comes Jones, a great block by Edwards, and then they come at him with Odell Thurman. Belting him hard, out of play at about the 23 and a loss of a yard.
There goes a couple flags.
Boy, they're all over the place now. Wade has caught one for 13. It's 1st and 10 at the 11. 2 tight ends, Thomas Jones and Reed. One of those tight ends was providing a block. The tackle was made by Justin Smith. It's a gain of 4, and Randy there at the 7-yard line. Jones has got 100 yards.
And that's why you're not seeing Cedric Benson, you know, because of the pace of the game, the kind of game it is, and the success of Thomas Jones. And, you know, as ugly as it's been for the Bears, a touchdown here, and they are very much back in it with this defense that can score by itself.
2nd down and 6. Wide open is the fullback, Edwards. The pass is not there. And he had room to roam. Johnson was defending the former street free agent, Mark Edwards, who was signed back in August.
Going out in the right flat is Edwards. You know, there's 2 positions that you have to throw the ball to them. You can't lead them. Tight ends and fullbacks. Throw the ball to your fullback. Throw it to your tight end. In most cases, neither one of them is really athletic enough to go after it.
Reed is a receiver. He's the tight end, but playing receiver. Wade is in there with Bradley. 3rd and 6, 14th play of the drive. Orton with time into the end zone. Incomplete. There's a flag. It was on
Thurman.
Thurman, the rookie, who is guarding the veteran 32-year-old wide receiver Masoon Muhammad. 1st and goal at the 2. Trying to preserve the shutout, the Bengal defense, and it's gone. Thomas Jones slithers in on a 2-yard burst.
The strength of your team on offense is that offensive line. In that case, it was Terrence Metcalf, Owen Kreutz, Reuben Brown, John Tate. They start it right. Jones cuts back left. Odell Thurman, 51, overruns it. And on a wet, slick day, you have nothing to grab when you're trying to tackle a Thomas Jones.
102 yards for Jones. He has now gained 100 yards in 4 of the last 5 games dating back to last season. Doug Bryan, who missed a field goal earlier in this game from 39 yards, will try the extra point. And that goes in. The shutout is gone. The Bears are within 10 points with a lot of football left to be played.
And Thomas Jones has himself a touchdown because he was concentrating on his read. Look at him stare at the D. They give him what he likes, and he's not going anywhere without a touchdown.
1st and 10. Cincinnati 38-yard line. Carson Palmer throws to Chad Johnson. He is grabbed there by Vasher. The gain is to the 43. It's a 19-yard pickup and a Cincy first down.
That's the first real action we've seen from Chad Johnson since that the early sightings with the touchdown and the penalty. Watch what he does with his hands. Little slight slip there. He's had cramps earlier today. See the way he cradled that in with the hands and his forearms? I don't have any doubt that was the reception. He slid those hands and arms right under the ball.
His first catch, Randy, since the first quarter. 43 of Chicago, Cincy, 1st and 10. Rudy Johnson takes it down to the 40-yard line and grabbed by Agunlio. Gain of 3 to the 40. Tuesday on the premiere of the Emmy Award-winning Amazing Race. It's family against family in the 11,000-mile race for $1 million. Don't miss the premiere of the new Amazing Race, Family Edition, Tuesday at 9, 8 Central on CBS, America's most watched network.
The most heard thing during that Amazing Race?
What's that?
Dad, I gotta go.
2nd down 7. Let's see if Cincinnati goes here. And Palmer wide open, Chad Johnson, and did he cross? He did for his 2nd touchdown today. A 40-yard toss. Chicago trailing, and here comes Orton on 1st down and 10. Hussein Muhammad, 49-yard line of Cincinnati, 16-yard gain. 1st down.
Here's what Cincinnati took advantage of. Look how far away Mike Brown is from that matchup on the top of the screen between Chad Johnson and Vasher. And then Vasher makes the cardinal error when you can't afford not to. Oh, gosh. Nice move on the outside, but he took advantage of that young defensive back, got him to lunge, ran around him. You can't have your safeties that far away for help against this kind of a passing offense. It will happen every single time.
49-yard line, 1st down and 10. Outside it goes. The fullback, Mark Edwards, grabbed by Johnson and by Torrey James. 46-yard line, and it's a gain of 3. They bring in Wade. They bring in the extra tight end, Reed. 2nd down and 7. Kyle Orton, 5 interceptions thrown today.
There you go. 5 passes to you, 3 are caught, 77 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Not bad.
That's just sort of a ho-hum afternoon's work for Chad Johnson.
He had 139 yards last week. Here's a 2nd and 7 pass, and for Muhammad. And it was James on the coverage, incomplete.
And you know, some days as Palmer is throwing the ball accuracy-wise, Kyle Orton is just on the other side of the coin accuracy-wise. Because watch where Muhammad gets working against Torrey James. He's around him. Throw the ball out in front of him and lead him, but the ball goes over the other shoulder out of bounds. I mean, just some days you get out of bed with your gyroscope just a little bit, you know, cockeyed. Don't you hate when that happens?
Better get it aligned then.
I check my gyro every Sunday morning.
It's always good. 3rd and 7. From the 46, Muhammad is reaching out, and the coverage by Deltha O'Neal almost looked like he was slowing up and heard some steps.
Well, he was reaching, but he wasn't extended. If you know the difference.
I think he heard somebody coming at him. 4th and 7.
That's what happens inside there.
I don't blame him. Listen, I'm not blaming him.
that pass right there to a wide receiver has got safety written all over it.
4th and 7. They converted a 4th and 10 on the last drive. Wade is another receiver. Ratliff is in the secondary as a 5th defensive back for Cincinnati, and Orton throws That same play caught by Muhammad, banged by Thurman. First down to the 36 and a gain of 10. And on this drive, Chuck Bresnahan, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals, has seen Muhammad and get him for 16 and for 10.
See, this one, he throws it right to him. There isn't a safety there. There just happens to be a linebacker. And something tells me he's not complaining about what the offense did. He's got a little something to say about the defense.
36, first and 10 for the Bears. Orton, Wade, grabbed by Thurman. Close to a first down, dragged down near the 27, 26-yard line. 26.
Well, coming into the game, Odell Thurman, the rookie, came in here leading the Bengals in tackles, and I don't think he's done much today to lose that rank. He seems to have been right around the ball for the better part of the day.
He only played 2 seasons at Georgia. Had some tough time getting a chance to get his academics straightened out at school and some off the field issues. First and 10. Good block by Thomas Jones. Orton on the move. There goes the flag. The pass is caught by Wade and Graham at the 27. Deltha O'Neal was covering on the wing. Bradley, Wade, Muhsin Muhammad are the wide receivers for Orton. First and 20. A first down is at the Cincinnati 16. And Kyle Orton throws, and it's caught by Wade. The ball is loose, and it's a fumble on the play, and it's picked up by Deltha O'Neal. And O'Neal now is on the move down the sideline and eventually tackled by Muhsin Muhammad. It's another turnover. It's the 6th of the day for the Cincinnati Bengals over the Chicago Bears. 6 takeaways for Marvin Lewis. 16 takeaways in this young season so far by the Cincinnati Bengals. First and 10, Rudy Johnson. Urlacher was there, but the primary tackler was Alex Brown on the line as he creeps, Johnson does, to the 44 and a gain of a yard.
That's 13 in 2 weeks. That is just incredible.
And 15 for the season.
Well, I mean, if it couldn't have done it without Dante Culpepper and Kyle Orton. That one was the result of a fumble, but let's give credit where credit is due. When defenses get turnovers, some of it's luck, but a lot of it's training. That's taught by Marvin Lewis. That's taught by Chuck Bresnahan. That's taught by Ricky Hundley. That's taught by all their defensive coaches.
Second down and 9 from the 45. And not much of a gain up the middle by Rudy Johnson. Well, this is a big day in Chicago. The Bears are at home, but there are other sporting activities going on in this city as well. The Twins are taking on the White Sox, who are trying to hold on to a playoff berth. The Astros and Cubs are underway at Wrigley. And the NHL is back with the Columbus Blue Jackets against the Chicago Blackhawks. It's never happened that all 4 have played on one day. How about that?
First time, and you can say you were there.
Say we were here at one of the 4
or you were probably stuck in that traffic jam.
It's 3rd down and 8. And Palmer, who has thrown 3 touchdowns today, chased from behind by Alex Brown and throws it away.
Good radar by Carson Palmer. Unless Minnesota gets their offensive act together, there's a chance that they may be able to pick up a win against a few of those teams. 2nd and
6 toss to Brantley, crossing incomplete. Ryan Simmons was defending, bringing up a 3rd and 6. When we take a look at Kyle Orton, it's been a horrendous day, one I'm sure he will never forget. But where do the Bears go from here? They got the bye, as you said, so there's time to kind of reconstruct things and build back up his confidence. But I mean, they've kind of pinned it on him with Grossman out now for the season. Blake just picked up, and Krenzel is the 3rd guy. I mean, where do they go? Well, where you go is to next. You know, who's your next opponent? That's all you can do. You can go back to basics in practice for the next week and a half. But this is a tape you might not even watch. Here's Orton. And outside to Wade. Casefahan makes the stop. It is a 1st down toss. It is to the 40-yard line, a gain of 17 on the play. Casefahan is right there. I said Krenzel, who used to play for Chicago. It's Kurt Kittner, who is the 3rd string running back, or 3rd string quarterback. And if anybody knows the Ron Turner system, it's Kittner, because he played at Illinois when Ron Turner was the coach of the Illini. He knows the system very well. There's Jeff Blake, the ex-Bengal, who was a Pro Bowler back in '95 for Cincinnati. First and 10. Here comes Thornton. And Orton throws it away.
Well, let's go back over some of the points I talked about earlier as far as, keeping up the pace and play takeaway and, be basic, be boring. I mean, some of the things got done. Cincinnati, well, did they keep up the pace offensively of what they've done? Yeah, I think so. They took advantage of what they needed to. They got themselves a whole bunch of takeaways working. And probably the big thing that really happened was, as bad as the offense was for Chicago, defense just didn't get the interceptions and the big plays they needed.
41-yard line, second down and 10 for Kyle Orton. That was deflected, caught on the ricochet by Jones, and he works his way into the grasp of Gathers. It's a loss of 5 on the play. David Pollock was coming up there and getting in his face and doing a pretty good job at it.
Well, that young #1 pick, as you see Pollock kind of limp off the field. He came in late to camp, and he was going to be a starter. Marvin Lewis had him penciled in as a starter. When he came in late, they decided you're going to be second team, and you're just going to have to sit down and learn.
And learn he is from one of the great defensive minds in the NFL in Marvin Lewis. 3rd and 15. 3 of 13 conversion rate for the Bears on 3rd down today. Here comes Smith. There goes Orton. Here comes Thornton. There goes the picks. It is 4th and 15.
Playing nickelback.
How about that?
Ben Roethlisberger, the new Ben Roethlisberger, the second-year Ben Roethlisberger, should be able to throw the ball against that.
Troy Brown had a couple of interceptions last season when he had to come in there. Mike Brown brings down Rudy Johnson. And Todd Johnson was in there for the Bears. And the gain is about a yard into the 27-yard line.
And with this score 24-7 here with about 4.5 minutes to go, you got to figure we just chalked this one up for the Bengals in my mind. And they moved to 3-0 for the first time since 1990. Cleveland's already lost their game. Pittsburgh, like we just said, is getting ready to play theirs.
Palmer on second down and 9. The handoff to Rudy Johnson, and Todd Johnson comes from the secondary and brings him down. A gain of 1 near the 28-yard line. For the Vikings, and Green Bay is losing to Tampa Bay at the 2-minute warning. 3rd down and 8 here after the timeout by Chicago. Rudy Johnson, and he was brought down hard by Charles Tillman at the 30, a gain of 2.
Earlier I talked about comparing these two offenses, Cincinnati and the University of Southern California. Just for the fun of it, we kind of looked it up. It is just, it's pretty startling how similar the two offenses are and what they do. It's about the big play. It's about the piling up big yards and big points, and it's about very efficient quarterbacks. 130.3 rating. We saw a perfect rating in week 1 from Ben Roethlisberger and a nearly perfect one here from Carson Palmer.
Palmer's been virtually flawless today with the 3 touchdown passes. Larson to punt. Way to the 20-yard line. He'll dance and he'll cut outside. It's by All Lady. And then shoved out of bounds by Hannibal Navies, who comes, there's a name from the past, Hannibal Navies, who was cut by the Green Bay Packers. A flag is down.
Yeah, that was running for exercise. There was a push in the back just as Bobby Wade caught that ball.
Associate directors of today's game, Freddie Johnson. That's fast Freddie Johnson. Jonathan Siegel. Thanks also to our broadcast associate with a long pass for Muhsin Muhammad. Juggled and dropped as he was dueling with Deltha O'Neal on that 1st and 10 pass by Kyle Orton. Broadcast associate Kamani Morales. The technical manager is Doug the Banker Fleetum. Technical director Chris Romanek. And the audio by David Grunvig, who did a terrific job today. Pat McGrath was our statistician, assisted by Robert Harlan. Age 9. Long day for Kyle Orton.
Yeah, this won't go in his personal time capsule.
No. 2nd down and 10.
I think if he was a computer, it'd be Control-Alt-Delete.
Orton throws, and that is an incomplete pass. Bradley trying to get it on a scoop. He's a pretty resilient kid. We talked to him on Friday. Coming up next, game 2, the Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers. He grew up just outside Des Moines, Iowa. Wanted to go to Nebraska. That was his goal. That was his dream to play for the Huskies.
You asked him, said, what quarterback did you model yourself after? Who did you think was the guy? If I got to be a quarterback, I want to be him. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm thinking Montana, maybe, Dan Marino, Boomer Esiason, anybody, of note.
Adrian Peterson for a gain of 7. Randy out to about the 28-yard line.
And he didn't even blink. He was quick. He goes, the reason I wear 18 is because of Brooke Bollinger, the former University of Nebraska quarterback. That's why I wear 18.
And that's where he wanted to go. He went there as a kid to camp since 4th grade, and they wouldn't offer him a deal, so he goes to play for Joe Tiller in the wake of Drew Brees at Purdue.
And right now his rating's not quite his number.
No.
He hasn't gotten up to that 18 yet.
Tough day for Kyle Orton. It is 4th down and 3. Peterson remains in the backfield. That's the hands of Muhsin Muhammad. That'll be it. We're going to go to the 2-minute warning after the first play from Cincinnati. And the timeout situation has Chicago with 1. I doubt they will call one.
0-2 means nothing. Well, you know what, guys? You're going to hear this week, 0-3 or 3-0 means nothing.
There's a handoff to Rudy Johnson. In the middle, tackle made by Tank Johnson. Chicago has a timeout. Carson Palmer has thrown 3 touchdown passes today. Rudy Johnson. And bounces outside. It's a foot race with Mike Brown, and he is shy of the goal line. Out of bounds at the 3 for Rudy Johnson on a 25-yard gallop for Cincinnati.
Probably be a good tape just to forget about completely if you're Kyle Orton. Just get on to your education as a young quarterback.
The Chicago Bears fall to 1-2. Well, we thank you for joining us here from Chicago this